The Christmas season brings some interesting concepts in the holiday setting, and the Noel Diary is fairly unique. When big-time author Jacob Turner gets the call that his mother passed away, he returns to his hometown to gather her things. When he gets there, he notices that a woman is waiting outside the house across the street. The woman approaches him and asks if he knows who her mother is because she has been trying to find her before she gets married. Let's see how Jacob helps Rachel to find her mother. Warning: spoilers ahead. Jacob Turner, a successful author, lives alone with his dog. He has his housekeeper's sympathy for this. Allow us to say for a moment that, as much as we admire the concept of family that Christmas movies strive to instill in us, we would prefer to see self-love and learning to be happy with ourselves as their message. Jake's housekeeper's sympathy really got under our skin. Anyway, he receives a call from his mother's lawyer, who informs him that he is in charge of his mother's estate following her death. She died a week before. Jake hadn't spoken to his mother in a long time, so he was unaware. When he returns, he discovers that his childhood home has become a hoarder's paradise. Jake meets Ellie, a neighbor in whose basement he used to play games when his mother was having a bad day. The Turners' family had fallen apart after the death of their older son, Ben, when he was 7 years old. We couldn't help but notice that Jake's mother appeared to have a lot of mental health issues. However, they are being swept under the rug. In any case, Jake creates Ellie's bio for a dating app she wants to join. Later that day, he meets Rachel, a woman he had noticed standing outside his house on a regular basis. She tells him that she is looking for her mother and that she worked as a nanny for the Turners many years ago. Even though Jake doesn't recall her, he tells her that Ellie might, and that they can wait for her. However, fortune favors the brave, and Ellie has a date for the evening. Jake and Rachel decide not to bother her and instead spend their time together, going out to dinner and then helping clear out more of Jake's mother's belongings. They meet Ellie and Ian, her boyfriend, the next morning. We must say, the old man had a dashing appearance. Ellie informs Jake and Rachel that she does not recall Noel well, but Jake's father might. This idea bothers Jake, who hasn't seen his father in over 30 years. Rachel, on the other hand, has no such reservations and is willing to go alone. Jake, on the other hand, has a change of heart and decides to accompany Rachel. The journey is going swimmingly. We learn that Rachel's fiancé adores her, but it is clear that she is only with him for the security he provides in her life. Her cigarette ring story is neither amazing nor sweet. She seemed to be trying to persuade herself more than she was telling a story. So they spend the night in a hotel, obviously in different rooms. Rachel finishes Jake's book and is very impressed. She claims that, despite his writing about love, mystery, and intrigue, he seems to keep everyone at a distance. It's an additional insight into his character, one that becomes clearer as the film progresses. They finally arrive at Scott Turner's house. Jake is hesitant to speak with him, but Rachel tells him that if he leaves now, he will be doing the same thing his father did. We understand that these are Christmas movie adults who have no concept of sharing space with strangers. But this was just plain rude. You don't get to say those things because you shared an almost kiss. But it works, and Jake spends the day with his father, discussing why things went the way they did. When Rachel arrives, Scott tells her about Noel, whose diary they were reading on their trip. She was a 17-year-old girl who was terrified after becoming pregnant out of wedlock. The Turners had helped her by hiring her as a nanny, and after Ben's death, she had truly been there for them. Rachel now knows where to find her mother because he kept the wedding card she sent him. They both leave, and when they check into a hotel this time, there is only one room available. Rachel's hair is magically straightened for her birthday, and the two of them succumb to the romantic atmosphere. Jake discovers Rachel has left the next day. In a letter to him, she expresses her gratitude for the trip and the time she has spent with him, but she also expresses her need for the stability that her fiancé provides in her life. We felt that Rachel's character's sincerity was misplaced in the setting. She had difficulty trusting people since her birth mother raised her. We don't want to get into the psychology of abandonment, but it would have been nice if the Noel diary mentioned that she was seeing a therapist somewhere. The Noel diary ending explained, does Rachel meet her mother? Does she come back to Jacob? All Rachel wanted was an answer to the question of whether or not her birth mother ever truly loved her. The journey in her diary helped her understand her situation, and she received the necessary answer. As a result, she felt no need to meet her mother and potentially disrupt her life. But when Jake meets Noel, he tells her about her influence on their family. He also tells her about Rachel, and Noel says she'd like to connect with her if she's interested. We don't see the mother and daughter interact in the film, but it's reasonable to assume they do later on. Rachel is sitting with her parents in her house, torn between her newfound love for Jake and her need for the certainty that Alan provides, when she notices Jake standing outside her door, declaring his love for her. He tells her that in order for him to leave, she must express her dissatisfaction with him. She is crying, but she says the words. And Jake is a consent king who does not listen the second time, so he departs. He shouldn't have shown up in the first place. Back at home, he discovers letters written by his father over the years. When the obligatory happy ending occurs, he is about to leave for his place. Rachel appears outside his house, implying that she will accompany him. We know that this ending was supposed to signify that two people who had difficulty trusting people due to fate's unfair hand have finally found the one for them. But we can't ignore the fact that they are also people who can't be trusted. Jake was clearly unconcerned about his mother's mental illness, and Rachel required extensive therapy. They would have been happier as friends than as a couple. Final thoughts. What works for the Noel Diary? We had our fair share of criticism for the film, but it wasn't without merit. In fact, we believe the bad parts were the connecting plot lines. The actual journey was incredible. We'll say it again. They shouldn't have gotten together in the first place. It would have also been preferable if Jake had persuaded himself to talk to his father rather than Rachel persuading him. The Noel Diary confirms our belief that Christmas movies are disguised as adult films for children. However, it is a cute watch that you can watch on Christmas if you want something only mildly sappy.
Thanks for watching, and if you are new to our channel, subscribe and click the bell icon so you do not miss out on our latest videos.